Hey guys, what's up? So we barely do this, coming out with 2 videos in a day, man. We got a little time to kill though. Let's talk about Keith Thurman once again, coming out of the woodwork, talking about Keith Thurman, and I saw the Last Stand interview, and then I just had to cut it off after about a good 15 minutes. Dude just loves to sit there and listen to himself talk. It's cool. He's fighting Ugas. You know, it's a good fight for those two guys. You know, he's talking how he's been here the whole time, but Keith Thurman, you really haven't been here, man. You've been, you know, doing some weird stuff, going into the Himalayas and playing your flute and, you know, smoking some marijuana, man. You're on that hippie stuff, man. Like, you're on that far out stuff over there. How many times has this dude fought in the last 5 years? You know, I don't even care to look it up. I really don't. You know, Mario Barrios fight, he got hurt again. And it's stuff that we saw happen to Keith a lot of times early on in his career as well. This is another reason why I laugh at these dudes that sit here and talk about how Terrence Crawford is the most beat up fighter at welterweight. Like, this dude has not received anywhere near the punishment that all them dudes over there at PBC been taking, man. And it's not even against the toughest competition, you know? And these guys, again, they're not fighting guys like a Mean Machine who are hungry and, you know, want to, you know, tip over the apple cart and things like that. You're fighting Formellas, you're fighting Mario Barrios, you're fighting Red Cash, you know what I'm saying? Spence, yeah, you checked out Danny Garcia. It was a good name. It was a good chess move. Again, Sean Porter, again, coming off that Ugas performance and things. You know, you were supposed to dog walk Sean Porter. We talked about that. But Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, you know, you're over here, man, you're over here gambling with Adrian Broner and Floyd before the fight. You know, you're wearing the same thing that you got caught gambling in. And post-fight interview, you're wearing the same shirt you were gambling in, man, with your face all busted up. I knew he wasn't ready for that fight, man. Again, these dudes, they just don't. It's just the culture over there at PBC. It's how they do their fighters, man. They pamper them and stuff like that. These dudes don't like to take hard fights. They really don't. They like to fight each other and that's when they get their payday and things like that. But leading up to those fights before they fight each other, man, they really just feast on showcase fights. And we have Keith Thurman here again, like I said, you know, rearing his face again, coming once again, lurking out of the shadows and everything. You know, hopefully he's been doing what he's saying. He's actually been training, things like that. But again, I think Keith Thurman does it more for the attention, you know, and things like that. He seems to be pretty content. He was content a long time ago, guys. After that, his Manny Pacquiao fight, his true Manny Pacquiao fight was the Danny Garcia fight, you know. After Danny Garcia, that's when he really started checking out hard time out of the sport, man. And he always likes to bring up Floyd Mayweather. In his mind, it's like a Jesse James and Tom Ford type fanaticism relationship. He obsesses over Floyd a lot, and he thinks that he has qualities and traits of Floyd Mayweather. Just on work ethic alone, dude, you missed the mark big on that. You understand? You don't work hard. Freddie Roach and them even knew that you don't work hard during training. You know, they even mentioned it before the fight, you know what I'm saying? They weren't worried. They weren't concerned at all. You know, Errol Spence even came out and said he's not mad at Manny for taking the easier route. I had to school a Spence fan on this in my comment section. Drop the link. It gives you a very clear, concrete idea what easier route means for you guys that always be trying to come in here and be the interpreter for Errol Spence. You know, we know what easy route is. You understand? But you don't train hard. You're not dedicated. You're not an active fighter. I think he barely just broke over 30 fights. You know what I'm saying? His last fight. I'm not too sure about that again, and I don't even care to look it up, man. This is a guy who's not been relevant, but he's a guy. I do give Al Heyman this. He knows how to make names, you understand? He doesn't know how to make great fighters, but he'll market you and he'll do that type of stuff. He'll groom you and train you for the television. You know, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, they can all talk good. Even Errol Spence, before he started with this character that he portrays himself as. Even in the past, he used to enunciate his syllables and everything else real nicely and use hand gestures. Those guys, they're trained quite well to talk in front of a camera, you understand? But as far as being truly great fighters, I never believed them in him once, you know? I did enjoy Spence till I saw that face-to-face meeting with Crawford, and then I'm like, oh, this dude, yeah. You're doing the same thing these Sean Porters and Thurmans and Danny Garcias were doing with each other, man. You know, you're no different than those guys, you know? And I thought he was real. I was pump faked a little bit, you know? But Keith Thurman, I could always tell he just wanted the easier route and he wanted to be fast-tracked. You know, he wanted Floyd Mayweather, but what did you do to really earn that shot, man? You know what I'm saying? Who'd you really beat? Go fight one of these other dudes. You know, even Sean Porter's over here fighting Brook and things like that. We used to do our research extensively on these topics, and it just listen to the excuses whenever Kell Brook's name was brought up back in the day. And he was all like, Al Heyman never brought him up. Same thing Spence was telling Terrence Crawford back in the day. Al Heyman never mentioned you. Keith Thurman, I tell you, it is word for word. Spence was using the same lines on Crawford that, you know, Thurman was using on him and some of these other dudes. But, you know, you fought Danny Garcia. But Danny Garcia, you know, we were starting to tell looked weak. You know, we tell you guys they don't really have that apex predator way about them. They're more so scavengers. So, yeah, you were licking your chops for Danny Garcia. You know, you even called him Cherry Picker, Cherry Garcia, and, you know, and all this other stuff, probably because he's a stoner and he likes that. Is it Ben and Jerry's ice cream? That's like one of their flavors, Cherry Garcia. It's probably where he got it from, man. But, you know, when it comes to certain fighters, you're licking your chops, dude. You know, but I think it's always a scenario of eyes bigger than their stomach. And Keith Thurman for that Manny Pacquiao fight, you know, that definitely was the case. Your eyes were definitely bigger than your stomach, even though your stomach has been getting big over the years. But it's cool to see Keith Thurman. People love him for some reason. I personally don't. I was never sold on him, you know. Even Amir Khan, I give more credit than him because Amir Khan, you know, he'll fight these dudes. He'll go up, he'll move and fight Canelo, and he'll do all this, although him and Brook kind of showed his colors too. But he was fighting the Maidanas and all these other dudes, so I even give Amir Khan more credit than Keith Thurman, to be quite honest with you guys. You know, you guys can say what you want about Amir Khan, but yeah, he's been in there with a lot of them, you know, and I guess people are excited. They're going to be excited about Keith Thurman, especially, you know, when he's going to sit here and talk for the camera. He's more than likely going to get hurt with a body shot, you know, and do his bicycling. You know what I'm saying? But Ugas is susceptible to left hands, guys. What was that dude's name? I be forgetting these dudes' names, man. I think it was right before, is it Jesus Ramos? The Ramos fight. This dude was getting clipped, especially in those later rounds, by those left hands, man. And Ugas has always been a sucker for left hand. Delorme dropped him with the left hand, and the left hand's always been a problem. We saw what Errol Spence did to Ugas with the left hand. The only punch that Keith Thurman has right now is his left hook, especially his counter left hook. But I don't know. It's going to be a good fight, you know. Ugas might be a little bit more hungrier than Keith Thurman. But Keith Thurman, you know, he feeds and wants attention. You know, he's one of those type of guys. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be a good fight. Now, someone asked me to talk about this Canelo stuff. I'm not going to really talk too much about the drama. I was going to say this, though. In a video prior, I mentioned that I was actually interested in seeing the Jermell Charlo fight, though. The bigger one. You understand? We caught crap when we were trying to tell fans back in the day about Jermell's jab during the Deverenchenko fight. We came out with a couple of videos and people were like, how can you see him beating Deverenchenko? And it's the same thing, popularity contest, you know, aspect of boxing that people really put their faith and value into, man. And we were just being straight up. We were telling you how he was going to beat him with the jab, and people are underestimating Jermell in this fight versus Deverenchenko. you know, and we told you how it was going to go down and whatever else. But I was catching a lot of funny heat for those videos too, dude. And I don't even know why. Like, you guys are really just maybe riding with Derevyanchenko because I don't know. Maybe it was a proxy race war thing or something like that. I really do not know. But from the stylistic matchup, I could see what type of problems he's going to give Derevyanchenko. Now, the issues with both Charlos is always their mental. It's never like they're physical. They're actually both very gifted fighters. They're both gifted athletically. Like, for example, a guy like me, in my opinion, believes that Jermell, the smaller one, I keep saying younger, actually has more God-gifted talent than Errol Spence, and people are going to think I'm crazy about that. But when you watch their fights, both guys have showcased that they can punch in sequences kind of similar to a Terrence Crawford, how they can catch dudes in the exchange with some very hard, devastating punches. Both have showed this throughout their career. You know, clip a dude while other dudes throwing combinations, things like that. And with Jermell, he actually has a nice jab, guys. He really does. I think you can tell he was definitely the mama's boy, you know, in that dynamic. You know, he used to get all the attention from mama. Jermell, you could tell, was just, I don't know, he didn't get attention. So he has this huge chip on his shoulder and everything else. You know, he just hates the world and everything else. But it's always been those dudes mental. And you can defeat them how Eddie Murphy used to say back in the day, those Jedi mind tricks and things like that. These dudes, they defeat themselves mentally, you know. But I thought it was going to be very interesting because I think Jermall was going to surprise a lot of people. But, you know, he's letting his weak mental faculty, again, kind of affect him for whatever reasons is what I'm gathering. I don't know the facts to be certain. I'm just talking, you know, from my perspective and how I feel this stuff is. But I thought he would have surprised a lot of people in that fight, just like he did versus Derevyanchenko. But with Jermell, of course, we saw, what's his name, the old guy that he fought that beat him the first time and then he was still outboxing him in the rematch. And then Tony Harrison, and what was the other dude that he fought, man? Castano, the dude that knocked down Spence like twice in the amateurs. Just another side note again, Omar Figueroa, or one of the Figueroa brothers, Brandon Omar, one of them, I think it was Omar, beat Spence in the amateurs. And you can tell with that type of style, also like a Castano, if you're aggressive and you just throw punches at Spence, you know, I can see how that style would beat an Errol Spence, you understand? Just to, once again, go back to the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford matchup. But, you know, Castano, I definitely had winning at that fight against Jermell, you understand? But what's good, and this is what I'm talking about, I think Jermell and Jermall actually have a little bit more natural God-gifted ability than a guy like Errol Spence. They're more fast, twitchy, things like that, more explosive. But Jermell was actually able to understand, like, hey, I don't have to sit here and fight, you know, against this guy like in a Mexican standoff. I'm not trying to say that to be racist, guys. But you know what a Mexican standoff is. It's where there's really no winner and everybody has guns pointed at each other. I understand the type of environment we live in today and how everyone's sensitive and everyone has a race card today. But he's like, I'm actually going to fight off the back foot and counterpunch this dude. You know what I'm saying? And it changed the whole dynamic of the fight. He was still losing rounds on effort and things like that. And he was still, you know, getting clipped a little bit and things like that. But he actually showed another dynamic to his game. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we all saw what he did in the second fight, and that was well played. I mean, if I am to give Derek James any kind of credit, I mean, you know, I do give him some halfway credit for that fight, you know, that you actually did come with a different game plan and things. This other stuff, though, you've been served fighters that you're supposed to beat. Again, Tony Harrison and Castano fights. Those are 2 L's in my book. I don't care about the draw, dude. I really don't. You did lose that first fight to Castano. Castano was robbed out of Undisputed, you know, just for politics reasons. But again, another thing that makes this fight interesting, and I get this, Mike Tyson was 5'10". It doesn't mean that you're actually bigger just because you look at the measurements and you can see that a guy is taller than Canelo Alvarez or whatever else. But in this case, Canelo with his weight games, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to sit here and throw on this channel, guys. Canelo plays a lot of a lot of games, before he even gets in the ring with fighters. He's a guy that's popped it up, I think, with politics and things like that. That's part of your pound for pound skill, bro. On an even playing field, I've always said it. In the top 10 consensus pound for pound fighters in boxing, Canelo's the most effective on an even playing field. This is why he has to do these certain things with fighters, get them to sign non-disclosure agreements and things like that. This is why he'll wait till last minute and then he'll hurry up and choose an opponent, and then they got to focus on draining themselves and things. And we don't even know half the story that's going on behind the scenes. My one dude, the Muslim, I forgot his name, because again, I just suck with names today. Badu Jack, he exposed Canelo to a T on what his true game plan is and how he goes about doing these fights. But, this is a fight where you've been weight jumping and playing these weight games so much. Plus, we're starting to see you slow down. And again, he can easily get into Jermell Charlo's mental makeup, which is his biggest weakness. Let's just be honest. He can sit there with that same style that he uses. And you got to understand, Canelo's style is all about conserving your energy. This is what people don't understand. He used to inspire to be a Floyd Mayweather clone back in the day. A lot of people don't know this. And he used to fight more off the back foot and try to use his boxing skills. He'd even do like the shoulder roll and things like that, guys. He would literally do the same moves that he saw Floyd Mayweather do back in the day. And this is part of the reason why I think a lot of, especially the Hispanic fans, didn't like Canelo, because he didn't come with the Mexican style. But then he finally unveiled this style that he's been going with, the high guard and just walking guys down and letting them throw themselves off and not land nothing any effective. I could see how that style could get into Jermell Charlo's head, and kind of demoralize him as the fight goes on and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But Canelo, even fighting at 168, and he's slowing down right now, I think they're going to be a bit wary of Jermell still. Jermell won't have to worry about cutting down, although he's only like 6 foot. I don't know if his reach is like as long as Terrence Crawford's. I think his reach might even be shorter than Crawford's. Maybe he has the same reach, which is listed at 74. Again, I haven't really looked up these things. Don't really have the time to do all that stuff and get all intricate. But I think it does bring a little interesting point. I think he doesn't have a jab like his brother. He just doesn't. That's how I saw Jamal really giving Canelo problems. But a lot of people, they're under the assumption that you have to fight like Laura to beat Canelo. That's not the truth. Floyd stood right in front of him and just beat him with a jab, guys. Laura, that's cool. You didn't make Canelo look stupid. You were landing clean jabs, but you also employed a clean jab in that fight. Jermell, I just don't know. I think he's going to be in a situation where he throws combinations and things like that. He's going to try to use will and effort at times against Canelo, but I think Canelo is the stronger mental fighter, and it's not going to be as widespread as people think. I think it's going to still be a somewhat close fight. It's going to be entertaining, but I think Canelo is going to win, probably by decision. I don't see him getting a knockout, although he could. It just depends if Charlo allows himself to have such a mental lapse where Canelo's able to catch him with those left hooks and things like that, because he likes to disguise his hook. He'll land that guy's body, and then they're left guessing if he's going to throw the hook up top or down low at the body. We'll just see, man. I think it's going to be an interesting fight because this is what boxing is today. It's a niche sport, so they have to do niche things like this. There have been some guys who jumped up 2 weight classes, and they've had success. Shane Mosley being the last one I can remember. He moved up 2 weight classes and beat Oscar De La Hoya. Now, you guys can say what you want. He got busted for PEDs, but he never failed a test. He actually admitted to it during that Balco thing. So that should let you guys know if you think, some of this PED accusation is unwarranted in the sport of boxing. There's been plenty of them that never tested dirty or popped dirty. Shane Mosley, for whatever reason, just confessed to it. I think he would have been fine without any evidence, like so many others that we've seen. But it just goes to show you how these guys can easily beat the tests and these drug tests that they have out there. But, You know, that's the last guy that I can remember that successfully jumped 2 weight classes and then did something. And I don't think it's going to be any different for this fight. Again, I just don't see Jermell having the mental fortitude to deal with Canelo. You know, we can all say what we want about Canelo, but he does have experience. That Floyd fight was the best thing that ever happened to him in his career. Getting schooled and toyed in that fight, you know, it was definitely one of the best things. And it kind of set him ahead of a lot of these guys, whether it's a Caleb Plant, whether it's a Colin Smith, you know. But we know Canelo, he always tries to find an angle, some opportunistic angle, and that's how you are awarded your fight with Canelo. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be something always up with Canelo before he chooses to fight you. He's never just straight up fought somebody in their prime like a Oscar De La Hoya or someone like that. He would not be able to handle that for one bit. Like I said, consensus top 10, Canelo is the most effective fighter on the even playing field. He loses a lot of rounds intentionally, kind of like a Deontay Wilder, and he has the most controversial wins. However you guys want to cut it, you know, it is what it is. Some of it I think can be blind hate, but others, people definitely have arguments that are substantial against Canelo Alvarez. I mean, this is about as much boxing as you guys are going to get out of me today, guys. I'm sorry, man. You know, it's just more of the same, and this is stuff that actually just makes it more off-putting for me to even follow the sport. I think the Benavidez fight is the fight that everyone asks. And listen, Benavidez is still green too, guys. Don't get it twisted. But it's just his style. When you can overwork Canelo and make him work harder than what he wants to work, it's going to affect him overall. Like I said, his style is more based on conserving energy. He's going to sit here. He's going to be in a peekaboo. He's going to have you punch where he wants you to punch, do what he wants you to do. He's going to counter. He doesn't have to throw that much punches like a Tank Davis, you know. He doesn't have to really do much in the fight, you know. He keeps it very close and things like that, and guys are kind of frazzled and dazed, you know, before they even step ring with this guy. You know, like Colin Smith, I don't know, man. A lot of these dudes also, they just want a paycheck, so they're thinking they're hitting the lottery, you know. You're essentially signing off to losing to Canelo, so you're accepting a payment to lose, basically. I know that's going to rob a lot of you fans wrong, but I don't care, man. I've dealt with you guys before. You guys want to really get on my bad side, dude, I'll do you just like I did everybody else. The Lomachenko fans, the Errol Spence fans, I don't care, dude. Trust me, I could easily bury your dude, Canelo Alvarez. But, you know, he should win, you know. He should win, but then again, we're starting to see him slow down and things like that now. Even with his head movement and things, like when Bivol was piecing him up and he was still trying to like turn his head and act like he's dodging punches while he's sitting there getting clipped. We'll see what Jermell can do, but I mean, this is a cash grab. This is what those PBC fighters are all aspiring to do. They don't have a problem selling their O. So we'll just see if Jermell takes it seriously, but definitely Canelo does get the win. It's most likely going to be due to Jermell just, you know, Mr. T Jedi mind trick. He's just going to defeat himself mentally, and it's just going to transpire physically and everything else. We will talk to you guys later. I already did a little tidbit on Inoue and Fulton. I told you guys, it was like maybe 5 videos ago, I can't remember. But I think it's going to be a very displeasing fight, a very negative fight. I think what's-his-name is going to do a lot of clinching and things like that. It's going to really offset Inoue. It's going to be a close fight. And I still think Inoue's going to get the decision. But this is a true 50-50 fight. You know, I think this is a true 50-50 fight more so than Floyd Mayweather or than Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, guys. I've already kind of spoke over that too. This is just me fulfilling, you know, requests in the comment section, guys. You guys have a good one, and I will talk to you later. You guys got 2 videos out of me, all right? I'm taking the rest of the day off. You guys enjoy your day too. Bye.